Hello and welcome everyone to episode 67 of One Piece at a Time, the One Piece read-through podcast where we read and discuss 5 chapters of the One Piece manga each and every week. I'm your host, Derek Bittner, and I'm joined by my wonderful co-host and freelance letterer at Shonen Jump, Brandon Bovia. How you doing, Brandon?
Doing pretty good. I'm, of course, the letterer of manga like Dragon Ball Super, Kaiju number 8, and many, many more. And a really random thought I just kind of had that popped into my head. I think the reason that I love the Davy Back Fight arc so much is that I'm a Yu-Gi-Oh fan. So like tournament arcs in Shonen are just like, it's just candy to me. And that's kind of, this is a really stupid version of that, but that's kind of what this is.
You know what? You just like triggered something in my brain where I just realized I don't think One Piece ever did a tournament arc, and that's like the bread and butter of shonen manga.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those like things you don't think about, where you're like, oh yeah, I guess because it feels like One Piece already does so much else. Mm-hmm. That you don't often think about the things that it doesn't do.
That's wild. Certainly. I mean, this is about the closest we'll probably ever get to that, but yeah, it's so weird. Yeah. Especially because like you started saying my brain went to Yu Yu Hakusho, and most of that anime and manga is a tournament arc. It's one of the best out there, but it's still
not
mostly
to mention
tournament.
Dragon Ball, the progenitor of it all.
Right. Huh. That is quite interesting. But yes, you
it's
thought that
it's like a very cursed tournament arc.
You thought this, I thought, man, Oda's going full Looney Tunes.
Yeah. I mean, it really just like the gags per second going on here is just like I was dying pretty much the entirety of the set of chapters.
Uh-huh. That's pretty great. Yeah. Well, let's get to these chapters with 311 Rough Game. And we're picking up where we left off last time with Sanji and Zoro successfully getting rid of 2 of the members of the other team. But of course, they're already in the middle of arguing with each other rather than going after the ball.
Yeah, I love this. How dare you try to help me? Then stop needing my help. Just shut up and kiss already.
Yeah, right. Luffy's just like, they're fighting. That's funny. And Usopp's like, guys, score, please score.
Right, the game.
And then, our fishman, what is his name? Bun?
Big Bun?
Big Bun, that's it. Goes on the offensive, trying to start stomping on them. And at first it's like, well, that doesn't seem so bad. And then you realize they have spikes on the shoes. Like, I didn't notice that until they pointed it out.
Yeah. Well, and then here's our first instance of this kind of great writing gag. Sanji's just kind of like, hey, weapons are against the rules, and he's just sweating bullets. The ref's looking the other way.
Yeah, he just happened not to see it. Nothing we can do about that. So Sanji
just
kicks his shoe at him. He's all bumped and bruised. He's like, I didn't see anything. And Sanji's ready to beat him up even more, and he gets a yellow card.
I love the fact that we have like soccer penalties in this just crazy little pirate game.
Mm-hmm. And he's like having these discussions, like, what is it? How can you not see this? And he looks back. He's like, hey, he's using an axe against Zoro. What about that? And the guy's just like, I don't know. I missed it by chance.
Yeah, I love the the word balloon is a lot smaller. He's kind of like whispering it. He's like, oh, couldn't be me.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. And Luffy's like, hell, I'll punch him, which should be allowed, honestly. But Usopp holds him back. We get the Nami motivation. It's like, hey, just win.
Yeah, and that's it. And I love he's like. Sanji's ready to go. It's like, all right, back to the game. And then you turn the page and he's just right there getting chased right next to Zoro.
Don't start exactly where you left off, as Usopp says. That's amazing. All right, so it's time they're like, okay, it's time to stand up to this guy and charge at him. Not really much to steam work there, because it's like they both think they can handle it. Sanji's like, well, I know about his slippery skin, so we got to get his hands, feet, mask, and shorts if I'm going to grab onto anything. It's like, please don't go for the shorts. Please don't go for the shorts.
I was worried.
And they end up Big Bun does like a slide towards them, and they end up on his arms. And then he says circus race as Zoro is caught up in it because he's just not prepared. And Sanji's doing it a little bit better with skating until Big Bun like grabs his feet and forms himself into a circle. So they just constantly
just a little loop-de-loop.
Yep. So that's not good, especially because the other two are conscious again. So they've equipped brass knuckles, steel elbow cuffs, and spiked shoulder guards. And of course, the
ref is, doing his stretches as one does.
Yeah, in the opposite direction. That's just
yeah.
the way it goes. I love how Usopp's still holding Luffy back from hitting him.
Right. the way that the ref gag escalates from here is just, it's so good.
Yeah, I can see somebody laughing from it, but I also see somebody getting really upset by it.
Yeah. Oh my god. I think at least in the manga, it's so fast that like it's not like they're dragging things out or anything.
Mm-hmm. It's very fast moving, which I think really does this arc a lot of favors.
Yes.
Like you are not dwelling on any one thing at all. I mean, I mentioned it before, but we have not seen hide or hair of the old man that instigated this whole thing at all since this began. He does not matter. We're just here for some pirate shenanigans.
Yeah, and I think it's just like the density of the gags. Like the first half of this chapter, there's like at least a joke per page, if not multiples.
Yeah.
And just the way that Oda just goes from thing to thing to thing to thing. It's just it's hilarious and constantly moving. And
Oda's probably like, well, I just put them through the literal apocalypse. Let's have some fun.
Right, exactly.
And as the fight goes on, the two of them are so dizzy that they're able to get spiked. Then basically Hamburg positions himself to be like a arrow with his steel cuffs cupped in there and just completely lands in the middle of Zoro's chest.
Yeah, just it looks genuinely painful.
Oh yeah, it does. Like, oh, that's not good. And in the meantime, the other guy gets sent over at Sanji and just slams into him. They're just too dizzy away from him. They're just getting beat all around. They're not even going for the goal. They're just wanting to beat them up.
Yeah.
Before they're slammed into the ground. It's like, well, that's not good. That's pretty painful. And they're like, the opponent is completely groggy.
Yeah, there it is. That's the title drop.
Yeah, I don't know how that really works, but sure, let's go for it. But we end as they're all cheering. We go over to Sanji and Zoro. Who's like, "Hey, do you want to actually help me for 10 seconds?" Fine.
They got to work together, but only for 10 seconds. That's as much as that they can stand.
Pretty much. Fun, silly, dumb chapter. That's really all it is. But
pretty much, yeah.
We do get a birthday from the SBS. Time for Tashigi. And our suggestion is saying October 6th, because that can be read in Japanese to sound like the word clumsy.
I think so. Mm-hmm. I was trying to figure out what, like, at least the word I'm thinking of is doji,
mm-hmm. for
clumsy. And I think if you, oh god, Japanese number readings are so confusing. But 10 October 10 is Ju, but can also be read as to, which can also be converted into do.
Oh my god!
It's sort of like you're doing like 3 or 4 levels of like, well, this thing kind of can sound like this, which can kind of sound like that, which can kind of sound like this, and it's just like, okay, I think I get the logic, but Jesus Christ. It's every number having 2 to 3 different ways to read it is definitely a thing.
I feel like you dread these SBSs where they reveal birthdays anymore. It's like, oh god,
yes,
I gotta explain this now.
Right? Yeah, or just like I want people to at least understand this. It's not from nowhere.
Yeah.
I understand like maybe 70 to 80% of the logic.
And hey, that's better than me, for sure. All right, well, let's get to chapter 312, Goal!
Wow.
I don't know what it is, but Turtleneck Nami reading a book. It's just classy. She looks like she's single female lawyer. It's the best. It's kind of the vibe I got from it. She's just like, oh, yeah, I'm just
got a well-off little condo.
Yeah, I just living the best life, reading a love romance story while the monkey reads a romance story and the other one has a banana.
These are so silly.
Yeah, oh, it's fun. And poor Chopper, as we begin, is panicking because not looking so good, and he's being cuddled mercilessly by Porsche. All of a sudden, everybody starts it's like, hey, the winner's obvious. Our guys are definitely going to win. They fought valiantly, but oh, hey, look at that. And they're all looking shocked. And it's like, oh, they're standing.
This would be so badass if the context wasn't so dumb.
Yeah, right.
Or they're just like, oh, they got back up. They're fighting these guys that are like 4 times their size. They're just like, all right, this is just like a dumb soccer football game.
Mm-hmm. We stop cheering. They're all getting into it, and that's when Foxy calls out, "I want a monster burger." And all of his crew gets shocked. They're like, oh no.
Oh, God.
not the monster burger. And we're working with Hammer Space here as Hamburg pulls out, a giant bat.
Just kind of out of his shorts.
Yeah, just out of his shorts. And it's like Joker's gun from the 89 Batman movie. It just keeps going.
Yes.
The same thing for the swords, which are in the front pocket as he's pulling him out. It's like, be careful with that. But yes, one's going to mince him into hamburger meat. The next will slice him in like pickles. Sanji and Zoro just looking completely nonplussed. And Nami points out they're obviously holding weapons. And finally, Big Bun. We get the origin of all their names. Because I believe the middle guy actually is named Pickles. So
Yeah, he's named Pickles. Yeah, so that's why they're Hamburg, Pickles, and Big Bun.
It's amazing. But yeah, we got the smashy between the two slices of the Big Bun. And they're just coming at you in this big old conveyor, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it's like hilarious and horrifying at the same. Well, it's horrifying viewed from the front, and then you sort of see it from the side on the next page, and you're just like, yeah, that looks really dumb.
Yeah, and I love how even the commenter is like, this is a red card infraction for sure. But what's this? The ref just happens to be performing a backbend.
Of course, Luffy not having any of it.
I'm amazed Usopp's able to hold him back.
Yeah, seriously.
Sanji, of course, you're bringing in cooking into this whole thing. It's like,
right,
yeah.
You don't do that.
Yeah, and Greeny's like, you are bad taste, and he just gets in there super quick with the Troy CM Hachi's Hash. I guess I can't. I took French. I can't do a French accent. And just smashes Hamburg right in the face, kicks him up, and right into Big Buns mashers, and just smashes him into a pancake. It's like,
It feels like it's been so long since we've seen Sanji just like in action.
It does to a degree, because we had that short interaction with Aneru, but it's only enough to really save the others and sabotage the ship. This is a nice, good fight to remind just
he's
how
just
strong
going in.
He is.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just seeing it's been a little bit since we've seen Sanji get to be cool.
Yeah. And Zoro takes care of Pickles by using the no sword style dragon twister to just pick him up and toss him with his sword still spinning straight into Big Bun.
Yeah, that is it. Like he somehow was able to grab a hold without getting sliced himself.
I feel like we've seen him do that before, where he like dodged in between like heavy rotating blades and not get hit or avoid damage. So this is a common thing for Zoro.
Yeah, he's definitely used the Dragon Twister before, but I don't remember when.
I want to say it was Alabasta.
That tracks.
Yeah, I feel like it is. But as Big Bun is falling over from the attack, Sanji's there to do his kick course straight in the back, keeping him standing rather than falling. But as Pickles is still standing, they got to get rid of him. And Sanji goes to intercept so Zoro can have a straight shot at Big Bun. Kicks him away, just happens to be towards the ref, who wasn't even paying attention. He just sort of does a quick peek, and all of a sudden this big guy is flying right into him.
And this is such a little thing, but the ref, he tries to, pull out a red card and his whistle. But good old Nami, just like her old habits coming back. I was
so delighted to see the thieving skills come back.
And it's such a little thing, but it's just like just it's peak Nami.
Yeah. And I love how Robin's just like, what a naughty girl you are. Like,
she's having fun too.
I think that's a big thing. You can tell she's having fun. She's not like overly expressive, but you can just tell she's enjoying herself. But yeah, Sanji uses his legs to kick Zoro towards Big Bun, and Zoro launches towards him, grabs him by the tooth. Ow.
Yeah. It just, the weight of all of this, like, I guess like the momentum of Zoro just like flying through the air, grabbing him by the tooth, and just like getting ready to slam him down.
Mm-hmm. Does a dunk into the hoop, shocking all the Foxy Pirates, because remember, they have not really lost. These guys are very obviously set up only for the Davy Back Fight, which I think explains their low bounty. The Marines know
it's the gambling strat.
Yeah, the Marines know they're not really a threat because they only target other pirates in order to bolster their own crew. So what are they doing against people? They're just attacking other pirates. So yeah, they're dangerous. Stay away from them, but we don't need to make them a high priority.
It makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, we get the goal. We succeed. Match over. Victory for Straw Hats.
That's it. and a good, quick, satisfying conclusion, I think.
Yeah. That was, what, 3 chapters?
Yeah, 3 chapters, pretty much.
Yeah, that's a good, solid, like, quickly moving setup. I had fun with it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, chapter 313, main event. And, everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's a goal. And Luffy and Usopp are celebrating like they did it. And Chopper's like, yay. And so Portia's like, no, I won't give him back. It's too cute. And all the Foxy's crew is like, oh my gosh, they're incredible. And
don't praise them.
And the ref finally wakes up and is like, oh, hey, ref, you're awake. Hurry up and blow the whistle. It's like, oh, right. That attitude toward the ref is unacceptable. So he sweeps the whistle. It's like, final whistle. Match is over. It's like, wait, what?
Right. It's like, huh? What happened?
I love how she played him.
Yeah. Oh.
Sanji and Zoro step away, having to look cool. But of course, that immediately gets disrupted by Usopp pounding on Zoro, being like, you had me worried. And Sanji being like, hey, Robin, Nami, did you see me? Do you love me now? And Robin says, like, yeah, you were cool.
Yeah, she plays into it, which again, she's just enjoying. She's just happy to be here.
That's a good smile. And so, yeah, second round. And now they've won the second round and they can choose anybody they like. And it's like, wait, Luffy's like, you know who? And they're like, we do? And they're like, it could be me. Just all these weird looking Foxy pirates.
Oh, I do love this sequence though. I completely forgot about this, where like Nami with like the actual logic coming in here, like, hey, like we could take Foxy, and then he would be disqualified from the next round, and and then there wouldn't be any fighting, and we could get Chopper back, and then they're all just kind of like, boo.
Yeah, they're all booing him. Which, you know what, I wouldn't have put it past them for them to do the same thing, but I guess they don't. There's that confident. There's many that have considered such a strategy, but no one's ever done it. Is it win by forfeit truly a win? It's like, no, boo, peanuts are all like yelling at her, and she sobs in Robin's arms like, they're so hateful. And then she finally says, shut your mouth.
Gets that on it. Yeah. I love that even Zoro gets it on it. It's just like, you got what you deserved. Oh my God.
Usopp's like, I'm on Nami's side. I like this strategy. Then Robin points out something that she hadn't thought of. If we go with your proposal, Foxy would join our crew. And everybody's like, we don't want him.
Right. And then he's just dejected.
Completely dejected. And man, when they call for Chopper to come back, because I did wonder if Luffy was going to pull a boneheaded move and say something else and like not get Chopper. But I'm glad he does, and it's like he's crying and so happy. Yeah, it's adorable. But that fat gloom face on Foxy for being dejected by everyone is so good.
he's just collapsed under the weight of his emotions.
Mm-hmm.
There's something that was an element of Foxy's character I had kind of forgotten about, where he's just so emotionally insecure.
Yeah.
The slightest jab is just he just can't take it.
Nope. And like he's like, my crew is cheering for me. I know where my place is. It's right here. And Sanji's like, enough of this farce. And he's like, oh,
right. Get on with it.
But it's a fight between Luffy and Foxy next. Luffy's like, I'm not going to lose. And it's like, hey, there's a difference between combat and playing games. It's like, what's up with this? But in the setup for it, they have some extra shows and whatnot. They're just basically in the setup phase. It's a cool down phase, getting ready for this final fight, I guess it is. As we're choosing the field of combat, where they're spinning a cannon, and wherever the cannon lands, that's where the field of battle will be. And of course, the cannon is falsely set up to cheat, and it lands right on top of Foxy's ship.
I feel like this is a gag that actually would play out better in animation, where you would be able to see the cannon just sort of like zoop.
Yeah, I could see it going
opposite direction.
Yeah, going a little further and be like, wait a second, and then back where it needs to go. So wherever that cannon lands, it's in a 50-meter radius, and that's where the fight is. So everything within that circumference is considered the battlefield. Any weapons found within that circle is allowed to be used, and no one but the two combatants may enter the circle. So the goal is to force your opponent out of the circle. In the meantime, while they get everything set up, we got Porsche doing a cheerleader routine, more chance to get some Davy Back souvenirs.
I got the carnival, like, county fair setting to this is just, it's so wonderful.
I kind of makes me want to go. It's like, this looks fun.
Yeah.
They got barbecue. I want to go.
They got merch. They're like, Nami's just like, they're calling for Luffy. Where is he? And he's over here trying to buy Foxy pins.
Yeah. It's like, sure. And then it's like, hey, athletes may prepare in the waiting room. Oh, prepare? Who's your corner man? Oh, Usopp's like, I'll do it. It's like...
Oh, I just noticed that the pins are doing the stupid Foxy laugh.
Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that. Oh my god, that's amazing. Some interesting pins.
Yeah, why would you want that?
I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if somebody on Etsy has those.
God, probably. You could probably make one that just like makes the sound too. Oh man.
Yeah, just take a recording from the anime and just makes the sound.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing. They're having some warm-up matches while things are waiting. Nobody really gets into it, but it's time for the fight to begin as the stands are ready and everybody's getting set. And all of a sudden, this black smoke starts getting poured into the sky. So we can do a projection of their wanted posters of...
It's kind of sick, actually.
Yeah.
I don't really understand how that works. But yeah, hey, you just... Whatever you can do to... It's just... It really is like a boxing match.
Yeah. Oh, they're going all in for this.
Yeah.
So, the man who never turns down a fight... Undefeated in 920 consecutive matches, the man who wins every game, Foxy the Silver Fox. And there he is with his suspenders on for his pants. I don't understand those pants and the underpants at all. It's so odd.
It's it's got kind of like a weird, like, for some reason my first thought was like the kind of like corset tie thing. I think there's an actual word for it, but yeah, it's just the way that it's tied up. You're just like, what is happening here?
That's a good question. And then it's time for Luffy entering from the right corner. And we see a little thing from Usopp. This hairdo will make your punches stronger. Really?
And I love, like, because you see him in the top panel. He's got like a hood over. He's just like completely just like shadowed in black ink. And you're just like, it looks really cool.
Yeah, it does.
And then
you get the reveal, and we get the introduction of Afro Luffy.
Yes, definitely. Perhaps by far the most like memorable part of this arc.
Yeah. I love the pirate symbol on his chest. I love the afro. It all works so good. Dating this in the future, perhaps, but I got the Street Fighter 6 demo, and I decided I want to make Luffy, and I was going to try to, because I saw they had an element of his character design from later in the series. Yeah. And even they can do kind of mimic his eye scar. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to see if I can just play as Luffy. And then I realized something. It's like, wait a second. I'm reading this arc, and I saw this in the options for hairstyles. They have an afro, and I immediately turned him into Afro Luffy as close as I could manage, because it's, you know, obviously so different. The one thing I was so sad about is they didn't have any kind of skull and crossbones to have like as a chest decoration. Like, dang it.
Still not as robust as was that Tekken 7 that had like that insane character creator?
I didn't realize.
I feel like I saw a lot of really bonkers stuff out of Tekken 7s.
Soul Calibur always has a lot of those as well.
I might be thinking of Soul Calibur, actually.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if you could recreate Zoro in Soul Calibur.
Oh, probably.
We do have an SBS real quick, where somebody's asking about Anero's special moves, as many of them seem to be names of gods or spirits from Norse and Indian mythologies. And Oda breaks down a bunch of them where, just all around the world, he just pulled references to thunder gods. I appreciate.
Yeah.
It's very thematic.
All makes sense. I definitely caught some of the Japanese ones. And of course, El Thor is pretty on the nose. But
yeah.
It's cool to see the breakdown of some of the ones that I didn't recognize.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get to chapter 314, Combat. And rather quickly, I feel like it seems like we got through these really fast. It's time for our chapter title page, series number 7. An angel comes down from the sky. I think we know who this is.
Yeah, it's this tiny little. I just love my brain thinks a little like sound effect of just like just a tiny little speck falling in the background.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. Well, not much more of that, but enough that we know who it is.
Yeah.
But it's time for a flashback as we get to the locker room, well, more like dressing room, where they can choose anything, but they have to wear gloves for the combat. And Usopp spots the afro and like, you should wear this. And, you know, honestly, Usopp looks pretty good in the afro as well.
He does. I do. This is, for some dumb reason, it is one of the most memorable lines in One Piece for me. It is something that me and my friends quote to each other all the time. Is the speech from Usopp here, where he says, "You know, it has been asked: do champions wear afros, or do afros wear champions? Even modern science cannot solve this riddle. This hairdo will make your punches stronger."
It even changes the way you talk.
which doesn't convey as well, you know, in the manga, but the dub takes this and runs with it in a way that I really, really love.
Oh, man.
That I think I showed you earlier.
You did, because I had not heard that at all. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's so good.
I'm pretty sure like they might have some version of that for the Japanese, but it's much more obvious when you hear it in your own language and like
yeah.
You know exactly what Sonny Strait is doing.
Yes, exactly.
He had fun with that.
Yeah, I just even now, kind of flashing back forward to the present, just the way that he's really playing like the just like the boxing coach. You know, keep your elbows in and show me your golden right hook. I love it. I love the sequence so much.
We're going full Hajime no Ippo or something, whatever. And yeah, we see Foxy coming in, doing his head roll as he's ready to go. And again, Robin having fun. Like, Zoro's not impressed. Nami's not impressed. Chopper and Sanji are impressed. And even, I love this laugh from Robin. It's like, he's cute.
Yeah.
To me, that's like, we've been saying how like it took a little bit for me to feel like she was part of the crew when I was watching the anime, but
yeah,
it definitely feels like more like seeing her there laughing like that,
just having a drink with everybody.
Yeah, that's, I don't know, that's heartwarming somehow.
It is, yeah, for sure. Knowing where, like, compared to where we started, you know, we've from former villain trying to kill everybody to all the way to here. It's just these scenes with Robin in them are just it just makes me smile.
Yeah, or a woman who appeared to be a villain but really wasn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got our reintroduction of the battlefield, reintroduction of the rules, because this is a new chapter. There's also some pointed dialogue here. It's like, have as much fun as you like, be as rough as you like, because we have many excellent carpenters.
Yeah, I love who I assume is Luffy. Just like Lucky.
Yeah.
Jealousy.
I mean, honestly, it's a pretty sweet looking deck.
Yeah. And now that we're on it. And now that we're gonna, see a lot more of the sexy Foxy or whatever.
Yeah.
Just like the ship, like it's very complicated.
It is. It's maze-like. There's all kinds of these layers, and they somehow have the ability to make these massive stands for the entire crew. It just shows how many men are on this ship. And you can see the size of Luffy and Foxy. Like it's a big ship. We've seen it, a few times before compared to the Mary, but still. But the bell rings, and Luffy goes for his gum pistol, and of course Foxy has the slow beam, which only affects the area right where he was. So he didn't even aim it at Luffy. He aimed it where Luffy was going to punch, which slows down his arm. And
yep.
Very interesting. I like the showing off a little bit more of the utility of the slow beam.
Yeah, and it's interesting that because his fist is slowed, so like the rest of his body like stretches back to it.
Yes, it's pretty interesting use of physics, and I like how there's a reason he's called Foxy. He's a trickster by nature, and I love how he just goes into the whole shonen trope of calling out your name. Slow. Just kidding. Because Luffy jumps into the air, he's like, wait, what?
He tries to dodge out of the way. It only works because he's fighting Luffy.
Yeah, I feel like this would be a much shorter fight if Zoro was in there, but that's all right. It's still fun. And Luffy's floating in the air. Foxy jumps on and just begins his Nine Tails rush and just starts pummeling Luffy's face, but he's not really reacting it right away. And then it's like, the punches themselves won't have much effect on you, but after 30 seconds, it's all at once.
Yep.
And he goes flying off the ship, almost lands off the ship, but of course, Rubber Man, and is able to get back on.
I love that, Luffy kind of taking, kind of catching himself back up, and he's just kind of like, the slow beam's worse than I expected. So what a cool beam.
And he even mentions to himself, like, hey, they gotta not actually stretch too much, gotta keep nice boxer formation, I suppose. But now we have the reason they're on the ship, because we got a bunch of arrows coming at Luffy. We have Foxy riding on a cannonball, so it's like, well, if he can ride one, so can I. And then all of a sudden they all start going off. It's like, oh yeah, they're at the end of the 30 seconds, and they just keep
so they're
going everywhere,
all over the place. Yeah, and I feel like this is the pattern kind of for the next little chunk of the fight is Foxy just pulling out all manner of nonsense while Luffy falls for every single one of them.
Right? And then, especially because of the scary slow beam that features the pins and they're all going the fa.
It's what just completely cursed imagery.
And I love this little gag. It's like, oh, they're bigger than the one I bought. And it's like, of course, they're bombs. And I like how Foxy's there when he says
like Foxy is there he's snuck in with all of the other ones.
He's moving along with them. It's like, I'm the real Foxy, and punches him with his reinforced spiked gloves, which, ouch.
It's just overcomplicated that it's just hilarious.
Yeah. But it's like, oh, and now the face bombs are at about 30 seconds. And Usopp's still shouting out, like, go after the body, like trying to be coach.
Yeah.
And yeah, every bomb hit, and that's the end of the chapter. It's like, oh, man, okay, we see how this is going to be a little complex for Luffy.
Things are going not as great as they could be.
It's, about how you expect for Luffy, really. But, let's move on to chapter 315, Secret Room. And we still don't have the full name of it yet. He's refused to do it, just volume 2. An island full of holes, but we've seen that position before. So, You ready for a Gadatsu title set of chapters? Because
I'm not ready for one.
Gadatsu was certainly the most gimmicky of the vassals, but I don't know if he was. I don't know. It's not like Hachi. We were endeared to him.
See, but it's also not as terrible as Wapol.
Yeah.
True. So I'm kind of just like the vassals are all kind of undercooked to me. So I'm down for this. Just like let's just kind of see what he's up to. Yeah.
I mean, it could surprise us. It's very much starting at a neutral position for this one.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we'll see what happens as time goes on. But time to see the results of this explosion. Everybody's worried about that, and they're just like, what could have happened? Where is he? Again, the sort of recap thing that chapters do a lot of times when you're just really picking up from the last of the fights. But then we see that, Luffy escaped up into the into the rafters. Like, that was close.
Yeah, he's fine. Yeah.
And the announcer's like, oh my gosh, he's miraculously survived. Is this the true power of someone with 100 million berry bounty on his head? And the friends are cheering and whatnot. And the Foxy Pirates are like, oh my God, incredible. And then we get the reveal that Foxy got caught up in the explosions.
Right. It's like... I guess it's funny seeing like Foxy's crew, just like, wow, Luffy's incredible, and then you turn the page like, oh, our boss he completely ate it.
Yep. Oh goodness. Now Foxy tries to use the slow beam again, but Luffy's ready for him this time and just dashes like out of the way. Does
the teleports behind him.
Yeah, I guess the gum hook right to the back, and he's like, hey, I'll break your arm to keep you from shooting that beam, which. That's kind of terrifying.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I'd be freaked out too and like disappear into the smoke.
Yeah.
But he does, and it just ends up being a cardboard cutout. Like, Foxy has just got his merchandise everywhere.
Man, yeah, imagine just like believing in your own hype that much.
Exactly.
Not only the pins, but just like having what seems to be, as we see, like, I don't know, like a dozen or so like cardboard cutouts of yourself. Mm-hmm. Like, and it's like, is it because they've got like targets on them? So like, do they use them for target practice, or?
I mean, maybe. I honestly don't know. But I love the very Luffy and Foxy interaction here. It's like, can you guess which way it's going to be coming from? You don't know. I don't know. They all have the same stupid pointy head, which immediately causes him to sulk, which allows Luffy to punch him.
God, it's just
it's Looney Tunes.
It is Looney Tunes. The character-based humor is just so good.
Yeah, it's like, I'll never forgive you. That's okay.
Yeah. And then just like the oldest trick in the book, Foxy's like, look up there.
What, huh? And then just immediately gets sent down into the ship itself. And it's like, a trap door. You were looking away because you told me to.
Yeah, it just, oh my God, that's the dumbest characters.
Mm-hmm. And it ends up being on a treadmill, which gets ready to knock him out of the ship once more. So Luffy is able to once again use his rubber powers to grab onto the side of the ship and get back on. It's like, where is he? And they see a door that he actually escaped into. It's like, well, this is obviously a trap, but who cares?
Yeah, he's got the little pin on the door.
Yeah. But now we don't have the announcer, and it's all just the two of them now. So we find ourselves in the gun deck and a door that just recently slammed. So we got to go after him. Foxy's like, he'll barge right through the door into this room of spikes and just get impaled. Outright going to kill him. And this joke really had me dying.
I know, right?
Instead, we get this massive explosion from the other side of the room. And Foxy is sent forward into the spikes, and you see this close-up of the spikes going into his forehead and cheek, and him catching it in his mouth.
Ah! And I mean, and that's good thinking on Luffy. Just like, oh, this is a weapons room. Just like, yeah, just fire the cannon. Why not?
He's allowed to use any weapons, so it's completely within rules. And
well, I love this. Foxy, like, trying to become, I guess, like the paragon of morality at this point. You're not supposed to fire cannons inside of a ship. And he's just like, are you trying to kill me? Just like, yeah.
I mean, kind of. I'm trying to win. You're gonna impale me, dude. Oh my gosh, I love that panel of him barely,
just
not getting impaled.
that face, that close up is so, it's perfection.
Like, I can't tell how much it actually did go through him. Because sometimes I see some on the other side, so it's like, I think it actually did go through the entire way. Yeah. But again, we're in Looney Tunes logic because he dashes into the infirmary and pretends to be a woman.
Oh, you know what? If you see on the panel on the previous page where he punches Luffy or tries to punch Luffy, you see like blood splurting out of his face.
Yeah.
So I think he just landed on those spikes straight up.
Yep. Yep. Somehow didn't die. So, okay.
Dear God.
But yeah, we get Foxy as this infirmary girl. It's not a... You remember the old Powerpuff Girls episode where they had
yeah!
It's basically that. With the three punks that are obviously in like with bobblehead masks and have body hair everywhere. It's just that with a nurse. And it's like, huh, not here. And Luffy's like, wait a second. That woman looks just like him. It can't be him. Are you his sister?
Yeah.
And then he gets a fox trap to the face.
Yeah.
He's like, that is weird. He came out of the same room. And he runs off and gets to the kitchen and sees a cook. I think, is that supposed to indicate that he's speaking English at that point?
I'm not sure. I kind of thought of it as like a sing-song kind of voice, but it could be English too.
Yeah. I've seen them sometimes do other fonts to indicate like, I know we're translating this to English, but this is English and Japanese. We're just going to make it a little odd. So it translates.
Yeah.
But
it could be either or.
He tries to do the same trick again, and it doesn't work this time because Luffy's like, "Hey, did you see an idiotic fox with a pointy pinhead?" It's like, that's going too far. It's you,
right? And then the woman in the infirmary was me too.
She was.
Yeah, Luffy had no idea.
But he gets hit by the slow beam once again. Does the Nine Tails rush, and is like, "Huh, don't think I didn't lure you in here for nothing. My attacks will soon hit you, but before that, behind this door, well, why don't you go find out? But it's not something living. That would be against the rules." And that's where we end. We don't know.
I don't know I don't remember what that is.
I don't either. I have no idea. The eyes make it look like it's, a creature, but he says not living, so.
Yeah, maybe
it might be another big foxy like chomper or something like that.
Probably.
Well. Oh, goodness.
What a way to end this episode of the podcast.
Oh, we have a worse way to end this episode of the podcast beyond that crazy fight, because in the SBS, we have somebody that asked, so Tanjiro was on stilts for 10 years. How did he go to the bathroom? Surely he didn't. And he's like, yep, it just dribbled down.
Don't ask gross questions you don't want the gross answers to.
Yep. You know exactly what that was going to be.
I know Oda was just waiting for somebody to ask that question.
Oh, you knew it. He was excited.
Yeah. Yeah, nasty.
Yep, very nasty. But this is fun. Like
this is great fun.
It's funny how the transition into all this, like from Skypiea to that when we only had 2 chapters to start with, it was like just felt a little odd. But once we're in this, it's a good time.
Yeah, just gag after gag. Just I feel like probably the most I've laughed in a single episode of this show so far.
It is so completely funny.
5 chapters of gags.
But I'm pretty sure we're going to be wrapping it up next time for our.
We should be.
I forget when this arc exactly ends, but I'm pretty sure the fight itself should be over. Next time.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair to say.
Yeah. Well, I say next time, but maybe not next time, the next set of chapters. But before that, I believe that we've said all we've wanted to say about chapters 311 to 315 of One Piece. Thank you so much for listening, and you can find more of my ramblings and stream VODs over at BitNerd Games on YouTube, or BitNerd with an underscore at the end on Twitter. And Brandon, where can everyone find you at?
I'm at Brandon Bovia on Twitter, talking about anime, manga, games, and my job. Just kind of, doing more of the same. Yeah,
definitely check that out. And if you'd like to help us out more, you can support the podcast over at patreon.com/Derek Bittner. That's DERRICKBITNER to listen to the next episode 3 days early. And make sure to return next time as we put the manga on hold once again for a trip to the movies. Because up next is movie number 5, The Cursed Holy Sword. Time for a Zoro movie.
Expect.
We'll see. I do not remember this movie much at all, so this will be
I've never
else.
Seen it.
Ooh, yeah. We're in for it. I don't remember much. 4 and 6 stick out way more to me, so we'll see what 5 has to offer for us as our second full-length movie. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. So until then, my friends, bye.
Remember to take life one piece at a time.
messing up good. You ain't your old self no more. You put that boy to bed, and now you gone and woken up a man. Just like that hairstyle's woken up your wild side. Since the dawn of time, man has wondered if the champion makes the afro or the afro makes the champion. But that's a question even modern science can't answer.